Hey, what is up, guys? Josh back here again with you today for another one, and this one that I have here today is going to be another spirit review. Just went out this past week and picked up a new rum that I was wanting to try. I was wanting to kind of go for something a little bit more kind of along the sipping range, I guess, something that I could kind of just pour neat or have with ice. Usually with rum that I get, typically make just different drinks with it and stuff like that. But I wanted to get one that I can maybe enjoy on my own. So I had come across this one on the shelf, and just thought it would be a good place to start as far as sipping rums go. And it is Diplomatico, the Mantuano. Part of their lineup. They also have a reserve, which is a little bit higher on the price end. I kind of wanted to go something for around the $25-$30 mark. So I looked up about this one, and it did say that while it's really good in cocktails, you can also pour it neat and enjoy it as a sipping rum. So I decided I'd start with their kind of baseline rum, and then maybe go from there. So yeah, the Diplomatico is a Venezuelan rum from the Diplomatico distillery in Venezuela, which neighbors the national park out there. I'm kind of blanking on the park's name, Terrapaima, something like that. Basically, they're mentioning that they get really clear water from the national park, from the National Reserve Park there. So that goes into the rum, as well as being made from column distilled rums, which basically the rum is all distilled in a big column type still that basically shares and distributes the rum through those different stages, those different plates in the distillery. So it's a blend of column distilled rums, batch kettle rums, which is basically just rum that's distilled in batches. So the distillation process takes place in batches, and pot still rums, all Venezuelan rum as far as I know, and no other sort of blends or anything like that in there. All Venezuelan, from what I can tell. Back of the bottle mentions Don Juancho Melendez, whose portrait, which is right here on the bottle, graces this bottle and was the inspiration behind Diplomatico rum. He was a Mantuano, which means local nobleman in Venezuela, and he would have been proud to blend rare rums. So the rums are there's just more of a kind of commercial description on the back. So the rums that are used in this are a minimum of 8 years, or aged upwards to 8 years. So good to know that the rum does have a decent age to it, even though it is blended. Yeah, other than that, it is 80 proof, 40% ABV by volume. So let's go ahead and get it opened up and pour a little taste out here and see what we kind of get with this one. Usually I've really kind of come to really enjoy most the Jamaican rums. I really like the funk, that comes with a Jamaican rum. This one in particular, I have never had before this. I've never had any like Venezuelan rum or anything like that. It's always been Caribbean rum, Barbados, things like rums like that from that area. But I've never had basically a South American rum. So wanted to go ahead and pick this one up and give it a shot. So let's go ahead and take a look at the color, which kind of has a fairly kind of a golden or coppery sort of caramel color to it. Not sure if they add any colorings to this particular rum or not. It's aged in white oak cask barrels that were previously used for bourbon and single malt whiskeys. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything to do with the color coming from the barrels or not. But if it's aged up to 8 years, it's very likely that the color is all natural. Hopefully so. But let's go ahead and go in for the aroma on this one. Which you do pick up a good bit of that charred barrel, that kind of charred barrel aroma. Bit much drier than what I'm used to on the nose. Like I said, most of the rums I really get and enjoy are the Jamaican rums, which usually have a very full forward, funky, fruity sort of nose to them. This one I'm getting more wood, maybe some light apricots, a little bit of funk, but it's it's really just that sort of cane molasses sort of sugar kind of aroma. I think this particular rum is distilled from sugar cane and sugar cane honeys. So, well, sugar cane molasses and honey, basically. Other than that, not a too much going on with the nose. Mostly just that kind of like sugar cane aroma, bit of charred woodiness from the barrels. And then maybe a little bit of apricot. Let's go ahead right into the flavor on this one. And on the flavor, right up front, you're getting a bit of apricot. You're getting some small amount of kind of dry, raisin, smoky raisin from those barrels. I'm assuming a bit of a smoky flavor to it. Apricot raisin on the back end. You kind of get that just sort of typical kind of rum, sugarcane sort of molasses flavor. Fairly light though on the molasses flavor. Yeah, a lot of wood on this one on this rum. And then on the back end, then you're kind of reminding you get that sort of slight sweetness, bitter sweetness though. It's not really. This isn't necessarily a sweet rum. This is honestly more of a drier kind of rum. Though you think about dry rums, you think about like maybe Sailor Jerry, which is a spiced rum, but on the drier side. Um, Not really like that. It doesn't really have that bite that Sailor Jerry has. I think Sailor Jerry's like 92 proof, something like that. So this you don't really get so much of a bite since this one's kind of a standard proof. And then you don't really get too much of a alcohol bite either, as the flavors are there enough to kind of cover any of that sort of alcohol bite up as well. But the body's fairly light. Nothing too crazy with the body. Again, it's not a very heavy sweet rum, aged rum. It's more on the lighter side, kind of more medium bodied, um, which makes for by itself, very drinkable on its own. Whereas you might take a fuller body rum, put it over a large ice cube or something like that. Um, but this one is just fine sipping on its own. There's nothing really unpleasant about it. Nothing really too complex about it either. But as a good starter sipping rum, it really it really does a good job, especially if you are somebody that likes drier, kind of more woodier, kind of oaky flavored spirits. So if you're kind of a Jim Beam bourbon fan or something like that. Something. This is kind of along the lines of something like a Jim Beam, and as far as if you're kind of wanting to compare rum and whiskey. I have a friend that's not really very into whiskey, still can't get into rum. I'd let them try this the other day, and initially they were into it, and then once that sort of rum flavor kicked in, that sugar molasses flavor kicked in on the back, they kind of fell off the tracks again on rum. But yeah, as a sipping rum, this is just fine. I think I've made a daiquiri with it. I've tried I believe a rum old fashioned with it as well. Makes good cocktails too, but not bad at all for a sipping rum either. So overall, if you are looking for a different kind of rum, something that's not Sailor Jerry, not as sweet, if you're kind of more of a whiskey fan, wanting to kind of branch out with some other kind of brown liquors, aged liquors, then I would go ahead and give Diplomatico a shot. Their Mantuano, again, they have their reserve, their Grand Reserva is what it's called. I believe it's this one's kind of in just a dark kind of bottle, as you can see. The Reserva is kind of more of a kind of greenish, kind of almost kind of like jade, opaque kind of bottle, dark bottle you can't even really see through. But that one was up there towards like 43. I got this one for like 26 after tax, so really not a bad spend for a aged rum at all. Definitely recommend checking it out if you see it. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching.